Mira and Harper Audio present Forbidden Falls, a novel by Robyn Carr, performed by Thérèse Plummer. Chapter 1. Recently ordained minister Noah Kincaid was surfing the internet, killing time, when, quite by chance, he happened to find a church being auctioned on eBay, in some little place he'd never heard of, Virgin River. He laughed at the very idea, but was intrigued. He'd been waiting patiently for an assignment to a church of his own and thought it couldn't hurt to take a look at the place himself. If nothing else, it would be a good excuse to get out of town for a day and see something different. He'd heard Northern California was very beautiful. The first thing that struck him was the overwhelming beauty of the mountains, redwoods, and rivers. The town was a little washed out, and the church was a wreck. But there was a peacefulness and simplicity there he couldn't dismiss, or forget. It seemed uncomplicated, fresh. No one really noticed him in the little town. The local men he'd seen either had hair shorn in military fashion or ponytails and beards, just like the fishermen Noah had worked with over the years. He fit right in. He wore scuffed boots, his jeans were almost white with wear, ripped here and there. His denim shirt was thin on the elbows and frayed around the collar and cuffs. His black hair was too long and curled over his collar. He planned to get it cut the second he was assigned a church of his own. But for now, he fit right in, looking like any other laborer after a hard day's work. He was fit and toned like the local Virgin River men. Years of working on a fishing boat and dockside, dragging nets, hauling in tons of fresh catch will do that. The church had been easy to locate, and he hadn't needed a key to get inside. It was boarded up and appeared to have been abandoned for years, but the side door wasn't locked. The place had been stripped bare and filled with years of trash. Probably litter from transients who'd taken shelter there at one time or another. Almost all the windows had been broken before being covered over with plywood. But when he got to the sanctuary, he discovered a stunning stained glass window, boarded from the outside to keep it safe. It had been left untouched. Afterward, he had driven the neighborhoods in town, which hadn't taken long, had a cup of coffee at the only eating establishment, snapped a few digital pictures, and left. When he got back to Seattle, he contacted the woman who was auctioning the church on eBay. Hope McCrae. "That church has been boarded up for years," she said in her gravelly voice. "This town has been without religion a long time." "You sure the town is in need of religion?" Noah asked her. "Not entirely sure," she answered. "But it could damn sure use some faith. That church needs to be opened up or razed to the ground. An empty church is bad mojo." Noah couldn't agree more. Despite being busy at the college where he taught, Noah couldn't get Virgin River or that church out of his mind. He took the idea of buying the church to the presbytery and found that they were already well aware of its existence. He showed them his digital pictures, and they agreed there was great potential. Placing a minister there appealed to them. The population was just the right size to build a congregation, and it was the only church in town. But the renovation, not to mention the accoutrements, would put the costs too high. There was no way they had the budget. They thanked Noah sincerely and promised him he would get his own church real soon. What the presbytery didn't know was that Noah had recently come into some money. To him, a small fortune. He was 35 and, since the age of 18, had been slaving and studying. While attending the university, he'd worked on boats, docks, and in fish markets out of the port of Seattle. A year ago, his mother had passed and, to his surprise, had left him a hefty portion of her inheritance. So he offered to lighten the presbytery's financial burden by taking on the renovation.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?